So I quickly rushed to her and tried to close her mouth. That stop calling for help. Then she bites my hand. Then we started struggling to from the bed to go to the ground. And I struggled. My hand held onto her neck too tight, and she passed away.
When 25-year-old Kate Ogwuoh needed a place to stay, she turned to her friend's older brother for help. He agreed without hesitation, offering her a room in his 2-bedroom apartment. It seemed like a simple act of kindness, but what started as a favor would soon end in the most unthinkable way possible. A simple disagreement would lead to murder, and the man she trusted with her safety would bury her body right inside the very room she had been living. But what you would find even more interesting is the strange manner in which the killer was caught. Kate Ogwuoh was a young woman trying to find her footing in life. In February 2022, she reached out to her friend's older brother, Joseph Fekala, with a simple request. She needed somewhere to stay. The person she had planned to live with in Lagos had backed out, and she desperately needed accommodation for about 4 months while she sorted out her plans. Fekala, who lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in Okaka community, Yenagoa local government area of Bayelsa State, agreed to help. After all, Kate was his younger sister's friend, and his sister had given her permission to stay. Fekala gave Kate one of the rooms while he stayed in the parlor. It seemed like a perfect arrangement, but Fekala was not always home. He had recently gotten a job with an oil and gas company in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, where he worked as an administrative support employee. He only returned to Yenagoa occasionally to carry out maintenance work on his apartment. Kate, meanwhile, settled into the apartment, making it her temporary home. Everything seemed normal until early July 2022, when Kate approached Fekala with a business proposal. She knew that back in 2020, Fekala had been involved in forex trading, and she wanted him to trade for her. But Fekala was hesitant. He had a strict principle. He would teach people how to trade, but he would never trade on their behalf. He knew the problems that could come from handling other people's money. Kate, however, was persistent. Then, one night, while Fekala was at home, Kate had gone to visit her family. She reportedly asked Fekala to send her his bank account details, which he did. Moments later, Fekala received a notification. Kate had transferred the sum of 50,000 naira into his bank account. Fekala was confused. He had made it clear that he did not want to trade for anyone. But when he asked Kate about the money, she reportedly told him that she wanted to help with the maintenance of the house since she was planning to bring some guests over. Fekala reportedly agreed that the money could go toward covering the rent. But the next day, Fekala claimed that Kate changed her story. She insisted that the money was for forex trading and that she expected him to trade for her. After much persuasion, Fekala gave in. He asked her what she expected to gain from the 50,000 naira, and her answer shocked him. Kate reportedly said she expected 20,000 naira every month for 5 months. Fekala tried to explain that no bank or financial institution could offer such returns. It was simply unrealistic, but Kate would not listen. Frustrated, Fekala told her to send her bank account details so he could refund her money within 5 working days. But 5 days passed, and Fekala did not return the money. Some things had come up, and he was unable to make the transfer on time. Kate did not take it well. She reportedly began sending messages to Fekala's colleagues at his workplace, calling him a criminal and a scammer. She accused him of fraud and also said all sorts of terrible things about him. Fekala had just started his new job, and he could not afford to have his reputation destroyed. He tried to calm her down over the phone, but Kate refused to listen. She was furious. Realizing that the situation could escalate further, Fekala decided to travel to Bayelsa on July 25, 2022 to speak with Kate face to face. He hoped to resolve the issue and return to Port Harcourt as soon as possible. But when Fekala arrived at the apartment a little before 9 in the evening, he could see that Kate was still very angry. He decided not to say anything to her that night. He simply lay on his bed and tried to sleep. However, Kate would not let it go. She had one of the tenant's children in the house, and when Fekala asked the child what she was doing there, Kate reportedly raised her voice and began shouting at him. She told him to mind his own business. Fekala reminded her that it was his house, but Kate said she did not want to start a fight that night. According to Fekala, Kate continued talking and raising her voice for almost 20 minutes. He ignored her and tried to sleep, hoping that by the next day she would have calmed down and they could talk things through. But the next morning, Kate was still angry. Fekala realized he could not return to Port Harcourt until the issue was resolved. He decided to stay a few more days hoping that Kate would eventually calm down. He stayed away from the house for most of those days, giving her space. Then on Thursday, July 28, 2022, Fekala returned to the apartment. He knew he had to go back to work soon, and he could not keep making excuses for his absence. He tried to talk to Kate one more time. He assured her that he would return her money at the end of the month when his clients had paid, but Kate was not interested in waiting. She said she no longer wanted just the 50,000 naira. She now demanded an additional 20,000 naira as interest. Fekala tried to explain that even if he agreed to pay her additional 20,000 naira in interest, it would have to be in August, not July, since that was when their agreement would be a month old. Kate refused to listen. She continued raising her voice, telling him that her aunt was a policewoman and that she would deal with him. Then, in the heat of the argument, Kate reportedly pushed Fekala, and Fekala pushed her back. Then, Kate fell onto the bed in a sitting position. Realizing that the situation was getting out of hand, Kate tried to scream for help, but Fekala panicked. He believed that if she screamed, the neighbors would rush in and take her side without hearing his own story. They would believe her version of events over his. In a desperate attempt to stop her from screaming, Fekala rushed to her and covered her mouth with his hand. Kate reportedly beat him, and they began to struggle, moving from the bed to the floor. In the chaos, Fekala wrapped his hand around her neck and strangled her to death. In a state of panic, Fekala walked out of the house but returned to the apartment later that night. He borrowed a shovel from someone nearby, claiming he needed it for some work. Then, he went back into the house and looked for a section of the room that was not tiled. He began to dig. It took him hours, but eventually, he had dug a shallow grave right there in the bedroom. He placed Kate's body inside and covered it with soil. Then, he returned the shovel and walked away. He did not return to the house until very late that night. He also couldn't sleep until 3 in the morning. But Kate's blood cried out for justice. The very next day, her mother came to the apartment looking for her daughter. It was the first time Fekala had seen her. He opened the door and let her in. The mother had a spare key to the house that Kate had given her, and she had come by before to check on her daughter. Fekala pretended he did not know where Kate was. He lied to her face, saying he had no idea where her daughter had gone. But something strange happened that night. According to reports, Kate appeared to her mother in what seemed like a dream. She told her mother that Fekala had killed her and that she needed to expose him. The next morning, being Friday, July 29, 2022, Kate's mother returned to Fekala's apartment. This time, she was not alone. Her husband joined her. When Kate's father saw the room Fekala claimed his daughter had been staying in, he was shocked. The room had no doors, and this raised suspicions. He told his wife to stay with Fekala while he rushed to the police station to bring them to the scene. When the officers arrived, they questioned Fekala. At first, he denied everything, but eventually, he confessed. He told them where he had buried Kate's body. The police entered the apartment and began to dig. Kate's mother lay on the floor, wailing uncontrollably. She begged them to wake her daughter up, but Kate could not wake up. She was gone. The crowd outside the apartment grew larger. As news of the murder spread, rumors also began to spread. Some people claimed Fekala was a Yahoo boy who had killed his girlfriend for money rituals. Others said he was a youth pastor at a Pentecostal church who had used his position as a cover for his evil deeds. But Fekala denied all of it. He was not a Yahoo boy. He was not a ritualist, and certainly not a pastor. He was just a man who had made a very terrible mistake. Fekala was arrested and detained at the State Criminal Investigation Department. The police confirmed that he had strangled Kate to death and buried her in a shallow grave in his bedroom. The case went to trial, and for 3 years, the legal process dragged on. Finally, in December 2025, a judge at the Bayelsa State High Court delivered the verdict. Fekala was found guilty of 3 out of 4 charges, which included murder, misconduct in handling a corpse, and burial in an unlicensed place. He was discharged and acquitted of stealing. The defense had argued that Fekala was insane at the time of the murder, that he had been provoked, and that he had acted in self-defense, but the court dismissed all these arguments. The evidence showed that Fekala had been in full control of his actions. He knew exactly what he was doing. Before the sentence was handed down, Fekala knelt in the dock and begged for mercy. He said he was a Christian and a peace-loving man who had followed his late mother's advice never to have a problem with a woman. He pleaded with Kate's family to forgive him and asked the court to pardon him. But the judge had no choice. The law was clear. The punishment for murder in Bayelsa State is death. On December 21, 2025, the judge sentenced Joseph Fekala to death by hanging. This was quite tragic. What do you think about this story? Share your opinion in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel or page for more true crime stories.